You're listening to the Unstoppable Teen Podcast, episode number 10. Welcome to Unstoppable Teen, the podcast for teenagers, parents, and teachers. My name is Kevin Mincher. Every week, we will bring you an inspirational person or message to help you experience more success and happiness. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get this party started. Hello, Unstoppable Nation, it's Kevin here. Welcome to the show. In this episode, we're going to talk about the number one goal that teenagers tell me they want to achieve more than anything else. I've recently been on the road travelling and presenting seminars in schools all over the country. And as part of that, I've been delivering my No Limits seminar, which is all about helping teenagers realise that there really are no limits to what they can have, do and experience in their lives. So many young people get caught up in the problems and the fears that they face each day. Maybe you grew up in a neighbourhood like mine where lots of people didn't appear to be doing very much with their lives. They weren't particularly happy and they certainly weren't achieving a great deal. And when you're surrounded by failure, it's very easy to get seduced into thinking that your life's going to be the same way too. But thankfully, it doesn't have to be that way. And through my No Limit seminar, what I do is I challenge young people to question what they thought they were capable of and get them to realise they're capable of way more than they thought before. The interesting part of the seminar for me is when students actually start to set their goals. And it probably won't surprise you that the most common goal that young people say they want to achieve is what? What do you think it is? Have a guess. Come on. I know I'm not there, but say it out loud. Yeah, you guessed it. Young people say they want to be rich. They want to be rich. They want to have lots of money. They want to be wealthy. They want to be millionaires. Now, where do you think young people get that idea from? Because I don't think we pop out of our mother's womb with this preference to say, one day I want to be rich. Indeed, when you ask little kids during their childhood what they want to be, money doesn't get mentioned at all. They might want to be an astronaut, or something like that, but money doesn't come into it. But somehow, by the time we get to our adolescent years, we've been influenced by something, whether that's our friends, our family, the media. But we have this learned behaviour that says, I want to be rich. And so I decided to do an episode on that subject. What can you do to have a rich life? So let's get stuck into this topic of having a rich life. I've had some up times in my life when I've been doing well, and I've had some down times in my life when I've not been doing well. There have been occasions where I've had money and other occasions where I've not had money. And generally speaking, it seems to be better to have it than to not have it. But I got curious, since so many teenagers were saying to me, I want to be rich, I want to be rich, I want to be rich. I thought, what evidence is there to prove that being rich actually makes you more happy? It seems to me that that's really the purpose of our lives, is to enjoy our experience here on planet Earth. So I'm curious to find out whether there's any evidence to show that being rich increases your happiness. So I started digging around, doing some research, and I couldn't find any evidence that being rich actually equates to more happiness. The only thing that I could find was a study that was done that showed that if you have less than £35,000 a year, or around about $50,000 per year, then you are at risk of being less happy. But there's no evidence to suggest that more than £35,000 or $50,000 will make you any more happy. So if you have 100,000, if you have 250,000, if you had 1 million, if you have 1 billion, there's absolutely zero evidence to show that you will be more happy as a result of having more money. You see, the issue is that below that threshold of £35,000 or £50,000, depending on which part of the country you live in, you're at risk of not being able to pay for all the things that you might want to have or need to have in order to have a happy life. If you earn less than that sum, you might have to start making choices about whether you're going to turn the heating on or whether you're going to eat that day. You're going to have to make decisions about whether you're going to keep paying for your TV subscription or buy your friends and family nice gifts for birthdays, Christmases, anniversaries and things like that. So less than £35,000 or 50,000 US dollars means you have to start making some difficult choices. But once you've reached that threshold, you can afford to do all those things. Like I said, there are some places where you're going to need more money than that. There are places like London here in Britain or San Francisco and New York City if you're on Manhattan Island, where maybe that might not be enough money to stretch. But I'm talking about national averages here. I live in the north of England where things are a little bit cheaper than in the south. So you've got to take into consideration your geographic location, but that's the general rule of thumb. What I found really interesting was, in the research, the number one thing that makes the biggest difference to your level of happiness is the quality of the relationships that you have in your life. How well you get on with your friends, how well you get on with your family, your neighbours, your teachers, the people in your community. That is the greatest factor in how happy you will be, not the amount of money that you earn. Now, since so many young people want to have more money, and having come from, my family's background is in, poverty. My mum tells me times about how she used to have to make her own clothes. She tells me about when she went to bed at night feeling hungry. Now, thankfully, I never went to bed at night hungry and I didn't have to make my own clothes. But I did have to wait for a kid down the street to grow out some clothes, and I had hand-me-downs at times. Just because an album came out that I really liked, or a new football shirt or a soccer jersey came out that I really liked, we couldn't just go and afford to go and get it that first weekend. We had to wait and save up till a special occasion like my birthday, and then I could have it. So we had to make some choices when I was younger because we didn't have money to do absolutely everything that we wanted all the time. And so if you had a family background like mine, I can understand why thinking that having more money will make you more happy. And it certainly buy you more things. It doesn't necessarily mean it'll give you more happiness. So I want to imagine that you're in a poorer situation than the one that you want to be in and you want to make more money. I'm going to assume that you're an ambitious teenager. Or for that matter, it could be that you're already doing well, but you aspire to have more, and whether that's as a teenager or indeed as a parent of teenagers or a teacher of teenagers, I wanted to share with you some of the learnings I've had about how to attract more money into your life and how to have a richer life. Sadly, when I speak to young people, when they're in my No Limit seminar and they say, I want to be rich, my next question invariably is, good, great. How are you going to make that money? And invariably I'm greeted with a blank face. They haven't got the foggiest idea what they're going to do. They just know they want more money. Now, this is a big problem. I'm talking about students that are 15, 16, 17 and 18 years of age. They've had plenty of time on planet Earth to figure out what they're good at, what they're passionate about, and where the opportunities lie in the future. But they've got caught up in the education system that's so focused on academic grades that all too often it doesn't pay attention to the transition from school into careers. Now, that's understandable because schools aren't, here in Britain, graded, assessed, put into league tables based on the career transitions that students have after they leave school. Frankly, if schools were assessed, if their league table position was determined by career transitions and future earnings of their students, then different things would be taught in schools. But that's not part of our government inspectors' framework for schools. It's not what Ofsted do. They look at English grades, maths grades, science grades. Those things are important, but for me, they're not as important as that transition into a career. So here's my point. Since the school is not graded or assessed based on students' transitions into careers, you shouldn't expect schools to put lots of time, effort and resources into future jobs and careers. That, my fellow friends, is your responsibility. to figure it out for yourself. You got to take some time in the mornings before you go to school, in the evenings after you get home from school, on the weekends, or in the holidays and vacations when you have days and weeks to yourself. That is your time to figure out your strengths, your talents, the things that you're passionate about, and the job and the career opportunities that are going to exist that you could take if you want to have a rich life. Now, if you're like lots of young people and you're unsure what you'd like to do for a future career, let me make this suggestion for you. There are no quick fixes to the get-rich scheme, if you like. Well, no, that's not entirely true. You could have a 14 million to 1 chance of winning the lottery. Now, I don't like those odds. I'd rather put the odds of success more in my favour. Apparently, did you know this? You're more likely to be struck by lightning or hit and killed by a bus than you are to win the lottery. Now, I don't like those odds. I want to put my future in my own hands. And so I want to encourage you to get rid of this idea of, I could get rich quick. So many people have got this obsession with, we used to have a comedy, a sitcom on TV when I was a kid growing up that was called Only Fools and Horses. And you had these two characters of Del Boy and Rodney. And one of their mantras that they would say over and over again was, this time next year, we'll be millionaires. And they were obsessed with get rich quick schemes. The thing is, some people do it, but it's so rare that you may as well put your energy into investing in and creating a career for yourself that you're going to enjoy over the long term and build your wealth over the long term. I remember reading one book that said that less than 3% of all millionaires came from the entertainment industries, including sport, including movies, including the music and all of the arts. The whole entertainment industry produced less than 3% of all the millionaires in the world. 97% of millionaires came from building a career, starting young, working your way up the ladder, maybe including forming your own business, and then sometime, probably in your 40s, 50s or 60s, you eventually become rich and wealthy. It's that long-term growth that gets you to the wealth that you crave and that you desire. So since you're going to be spending so much time at work, if you think about it, you're probably going to spend more of your life working than doing anything else. You'll spend more time at work than you will sleeping. You'll spend more time at work than you will with your family, your friends, and your loved ones. You'll literally spend more time at work than doing anything else. A minimum of 8 hours a day, and for some of us, it's 10, 12, or even 14 hours a day. So when you multiply that up by a year, by a decade, by your entire career of more than 40 years, you're going to spend a huge amount of time at work creating wealth to pay for the things you want to do in your life, like have a nice car or live in a lovely home or go on wonderful holidays, buy yourself nice clothes and all those things. You can spend a lot of time doing it. And since you're going to spend a lot of time doing it, it makes sense, doesn't it, that you'd want to choose a career that you enjoy. So the first thing for you to do is go and discover what you enjoy in life. And that's really difficult to do when you just follow the crowd and fall into social stereotypes. Like, I'm a boy, so I've got to watch football. I'm a girl, so I've got to be into, whatever girls are into. I don't know. I'm not a girl. But you get my point, right? You've got to use your evenings, your weekends, and your holidays to get experiences of things and discover your personal passions. You see, once you discover something that you're passionate about, then you can find all the jobs and the careers that exist in that genre. Now, it might be, like for me, I loved football. And of course, I could develop a career as a football player. But I could also be a coach, I could be a manager, I could work in advertising, I could be a commentator, I could be a medic, a physio, a doctor, I could be an agent, I could be an accountant, I can be a journalist. I can be so many things in the world of football. So I'm still getting to be involved in something I'm passionate about. But I'm not just focused on being a football player. Does this make sense? So you gotta find something that you're passionate about, something that you love, because you're going to be doing so much. The other thing about generating a rich life is, once you've discovered something that you're passionate about, in my opinion, it's really important that you play to your strengths. You know, if I'm good at foreign languages, if I just have a natural flair for that, then it makes sense for me to choose careers that will enable me to take advantage of that natural talent. If I have a natural talent for mathematics, and that comes easy to me, and I enjoy it, then it makes sense for me to select careers that take advantage of that natural talent. Now, I believe that every human being can be brilliant and is brilliant at something. Now, you might not have found that natural talent yet, or maybe you have, but the way you find it is through experience. If you don't know what you're good at, if your school isn't helping you discover your natural talents, because maybe you're not good at math and English and science and the things that are in the national curriculum, if your natural strengths and talents are, for instance, in animal care or helping things grow like plants and flowers, you're not going to discover that in school because it's not part of the national curriculum. That's why you're going to try new things on the weekends and evenings and your holidays and your vacations. That magical combination of the things that you enjoy plus the things that you're good at, building a career around those two things, stacks the odds of success and you creating wealth and richness for yourself in your favour. The next tip I want to give you about generating more wealth, creating more richness, earning more money in your life is all about finding ways to serve other people. I've discovered that when you go out of your way to help other people, when you go out of your way to make a difference, when you go out of your way to give more, then in return, you seem to earn more. So many people get it the wrong way around. They're so focused on getting more, earning more, that they're not focused on contribution. It was the President of the United States way back in the 60s, John F. Kennedy, who said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And that mindset of giving rather than taking is central to wealth creation. People that end up with not enough invariably are those that are focused on getting. Those that create wealth for other people, those that go out of their way to serve others, to make a difference, to offer services and products that people need and that they want, those people generate more wealth. So I encourage you to put your thinking cap on about how can you contribute? How can you give? What can you create that will make a positive difference in the lives of others? What service could you provide that would bring a smile to other people's faces? And when you go out of your way to give and share and help and go the extra mile to make a difference in somebody else's life, you will get rewarded with wealth beyond your wildest dreams. The final tip I want to give you about having a rich life is all about gratitude. I've met hundreds of people that are multimillionaires. Some of my closest friends are millionaires. And what I've discovered is that those people who appreciate what they have experience a richer quality of life. Those, on the other hand, who take their wealth for granted, those who moan about things, those who complain about things, those who whine and whinge about things, those who criticize people because things aren't the way they want them to be. It doesn't matter how much those negative people have in their bank account, they won't experience the feeling of abundance, the feeling of being wealthy, the feeling of being rich, because they're focused on all the bad stuff. And whilst you're focused on all the negative stuff, you can't create those positive emotions inside. And so, irrespective of how much you've got in your bank account, if you live with gratitude, with thankfulness, with appreciation in your heart, you'll feel rich beyond your wildest dreams, irrespective of how much money is in your bank account. Here's what I've then come to realize. People like to be appreciated. So when you get your paycheck and you say thank you, when you get your sales commission in the future and you say thank you and mean it, when you offer up some prayers at night to God, the universe, or whatever it is that you believe in, and say thank you for the things that you have, somehow it appears to attract more of the good stuff into your life. Somehow people like to give more to those people that appreciate them. I think it's human nature. So I go out of my way to express my appreciation to my clients. I'll send them gifts. I'll send them little surprises. I'll certainly send them thank you notes. And even when I'm not with them, when I'm out exercising, when I'm meditating in one of my yoga classes, I'll express my appreciation. Gratitude, according to Oprah Winfrey, is the thing, and she should know something about wealth because she's a self-made billionaire. But gratitude, according to Oprah, is the number one ingredient that helps you feel like you have a rich life. She says that you can have all the money in the world, but if you have no gratitude, you're the poorest person on the planet. So, let's summarize some things here. If you want to have a rich life, you've got to discover your personal strengths. You've got to discover what you enjoy. And then you've got to figure out which jobs and careers exist that would enable you to take advantage of both your strengths and of your passions. Then it's about serving other people, adding value, and making a difference. The more you can give, the more likely you are to get. And finally, it's about gratitude and appreciation. If you live with those emotions in your heart each day, then irrespective of how much money you have in your bank account, you can feel like the richest person in the world. And as you express it, you're more likely to be rewarded, which will help that bank account top up, which is only a good thing. I hope you've enjoyed this episode so far, and if you have, I want to encourage you to give us a 5-star rating, whether that's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or even via the Unstoppable Team website. I'd really appreciate it. It will help us get more listeners and achieve our mission of helping 1 million young people experience a better quality of life. If you could give us some reviews that are positive ones, and if you could share the link to this episode with your friends, with your family and your loved ones, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you'd like me to come to your school to deliver one of my motivational seminars, like No Limits that I mentioned earlier on in this episode, please go to unstoppableschools.com to find out how to make a booking. The other thing you can do is ping us an email. Just simply write to info@unstoppableteen.com. That's info@unstoppableteen.com. And if I do get to come to your school, be sure to come over and say hi. I'd love to meet you, and irrespective of whether we one day get to meet in person, please use the comments section on our website to let us know who you'd like me to interview in future episodes. We're lining up some experts that have got advice, brilliant insights that can help teenagers achieve more. And so I'd like to know, do you want advice on health? Do you want more advice on money and careers? Do you want advice on confidence, relationships, or something else? Let us know. And you can, of course, do that via social media as well. You'll find us on the usual social media channels of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @UnstoppableTeen. Folks, I hope you found this episode useful. It was all about how to experience a rich life. If that's important to you, use the ideas in this episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you again real soon when we'll help you become truly unstoppable. Bye for now.